Recorded Books presents Assault by Fire by H. Ripley Rawlings IV. Narrated by Graham Winton. Prologue. When Premier of the Soviet Union Joseph V. Stalin died in 1954, the Russian Executive Command finally received permission from the Presidium to alter the Grand Soviet national military strategy from one focusing on the defense of Rodina, Mother Russia, to something completely new. One that could be summed up by saying that a series of lightning offenses are the best defense in the modern nuclear era. In these new war plans, a successful invasion of Europe was given as a foregone conclusion. Russia was completely confident they held the upper hand on the continent. But the invasion of the continental United States, without the use of strategic nuclear arms, remained a vexing problem for Soviet military planners. Three major obstacles prevented the generals from supporting an invasion. The following pages are an excerpt from the original Soviet war plan. Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. War Plan 90X-54. Invasion of the United States. Combined Assault of America by Russian Ocean and Air Forces. Paragraph 18-01. 1. Invasion of the contiguous 48 United States by sea is determined by the leading Soviet naval planners in Leningrad to be impractical at this time. Achieving our doctrinal and desirable 5-to-1 troop ratio via undetected large transport ships and across the Atlantic-Pacific Oceans is not feasible with current technology. 2. Invasion of the United States is unlikely to be sustainable due to wanton and massive U.S. practice of private firearm ownership. The American Second Amendment means conflict within the continental United States will devolve rapidly and inevitably into a bloody house-to-house conflict. Insurgencies will consist chiefly of remnant military interspersed with willing, patriotic, and well-armed civilian insurgents, who will arise shortly after or during the planned Soviet assault phases, and after our forces' initial seizure of the U.S. coasts. 3. The U.S. policy of mutual assured destruction, MAD, means an invasion would be costly, as any surviving U.S. nuclear force command and control architecture will retaliate with strategic nuclear weapons. Soviet Military Executive Command Conclusions. Paragraph 18-02. Any invasion of the U.S. will be cost-prohibitive in both materials and personnel, and any estimates for victory in a land invasion of the continental United States offered to the Supreme Soviet in War Plan 90X-54 should remain marked as merely feasible until the three listed factors can be removed or mitigated. Finally, it is the estimate of my entire staff that invasion should only be considered in the event of an existential threat against Mother Russia herself. Signed, Colonel General I. V. McGiv, Soviet General Staff Headquarters. Offensive War Plan 90X, April 1990 revision. Chapter 1. 12 years ago, Fallujah, Iraq. He was being dragged backward into a building by the scruff of his flak jacket. As his heels left marks in the sand and dirt, he dazedly stared up and admired the beautiful blue-gray smoke eddies in the air. The near-constant fighting had left a cloud of swirling gas from the guns. Still deafened by the explosion, Lieutenant Tice Asher looked around, bewildered. His face and hands were singed and burning in agony, but he couldn't remember why. He scrambled to his feet, wobbling and taking in his surroundings. His Marines had taken up positions at the windows. As things became clearer to Tice, he could feel a thumping, a dull pounding against his face and chest. The bass of booms and pops reverberating through his body even in his still mostly
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.